It's all happening at the 11,400-year-old site of Karahan Tepe in southeast Turkey. An amazing discovery of a T-pillar with a human face on it has been discovered, the first ever like this in the whole region. But not just that, there are many other discoveries that have not been announced to the public that we'll reveal in this video for the first time. Hey Megalithomaniacs, we're back here at Karahan Tepe in September 2025. It's late in the afternoon, the sun's beginning to set, it's a beautiful afternoon, and there's a lot more has been going on here over the last few months, over the summer. So we've heard about some discoveries, some other kind of pillars, T-shaped pillars, the enclosures. So let's get in and take a look, because I think you're going to be surprised how quickly they're working here compared to sites like Göbekli Tepe. So one of the things we noticed on the way into Karahan Tepe is the fact that they're building this kind of new visitor centre, and it's almost completed. I'll show you an image of it here. And that worries me a little bit, because it seems like it's going to be a much more controlled site. But at the moment, you can actually come in here for free. You know, you can maybe give a donation if you want, but you don't really have to right now. And we have a brand new discovery that has just been announced in October 2025 of a T-shaped pillar with a carved face on the front edge of it, which we will explore shortly. There's some very interesting features. Obviously, we've got the classic pillar shrine, the main enclosure, everything else, the big statue. The new enclosure is absolutely fascinating. As you walk around it, you can actually see that much more of it has now been exposed. There's huge benches going around the entire edge. And there's one T-pillar, if you look carefully down here, you can actually see, JJ spotted this, there's like a 3D relief of a critter on the thin edge. This T-pillar has a full 3D relief on the front of the pillar, just like we find in enclosure C at Göbekli Tepe. Now that is unique. I've not seen anything quite like that here at this site. We also have some very interesting other features, some massive T-pillars. Other enclosures have now been exposed around the top large enclosure. And also, one of the most interesting things is like a mini pillar shrine has been found with it. It's like an indentation, like a pit in the ground, with what appears to be one bedrock carved pillar, like a phallus coming out of it. So this little area just below me here, this is the mini pillar shrine with the one solitary pillar, possibly a few more that are scattered around it as well. So who knows, you know, is this part of the ceremonial landscape here at Karahan Tepe? We're really not sure. But there's so many other features to explore here. You can also notice in the main enclosure there's more niches, more like windows around the kind of edge of it as well, which we hadn't noticed before. Quite a lot going on here at Karahan Tepe. There's a lot of reconstruction going on over near Göbekli Tepe, the other hill where the caves are and the rock cut areas. And in this area known as the kitchen, you can see that there's many of the remarkable stone plates. There's a hole in the ground, there's a hearth, and also you can see auroch skulls, you know, fully decomposed, but still there. So this is another unique part of Karahan Tepe. There's also like an amoeba type carving actually in the bedrock just down here as well, which I got a scan of, which I'll show you. But yeah, we're going to be returning here next May and next September, so check out the links below. And Karahan Tepe just keeps on giving, so let's just wait and see what else turns up. We know that there's obviously the classic kind of discovery of the bowl within a bowl and all the animals and the porthole stones, but actually there could be a lot more that hasn't been exposed and hasn't been revealed to the public. But what has been revealed is a brand new T-shaped pillar, which on the top of it has a face actually carved on the front of it. I mean, this is utterly unique. There's no other T pillars in the entire region at any other Tepela sites that have this. But what you can also notice as well is that it's actually a T shape. The face is actually the shape of the pillar itself, a T shape. Now this is quite interesting because we have masks made of stone, other statues from Karahan Tepe and other places that actually have this in the design themselves. So it's like a duplicate of that. And also we must question, why doesn't it have a mouth when the head in the pillar shrine does have a mouth? This was discovered up on the hill towards the main enclosure behind structure 8H, where there's fully reconstructed pillars that are being put back together, much like we find in enclosure C at Göbekli Tepe. One of the other aspects of this new discovery is the head itself above the face, because from certain angles it looks like it's got a Mohican. Again, this is a design we've seen in other statues across the Tepela region. We even see that a version of that in the 7.5-foot statue found in the new enclosure at the top of the hill. And so this could well be a later carving. It could be from the later phases of Karahan Tepe and the pre-pottery Neolithic era, possibly pre-pottery Neolithic B, but we really don't know. And it makes you question all the damaged T-shaped pillars where the tops have been destroyed. Did some of those have faces on them? So what we're seeing now at Karahan Tepe is a huge area on top of the hill, just behind me here, which is becoming exposed. And there's a huge amount of rubble and debris, and you can see it's been deliberately buried, much like the site was. But there seems to be, one thing we've noticed over the years is evidence of deliberate damage, even in ancient times before it was buried. But then a heavy layer of rubble and mud and dirt to cover it all over. It doesn't seem like it's been repaired, the enclosures we're looking at. Even the 7.5-foot statue appeared to be completely destroyed in 3 parts, but they are preserving it. There's some incredible discoveries being made, really subtle things. I mean, the mini pillar shrine with one kind of bedrock pillar is really interesting. It's almost like it reminds me of Gedikaya Cave up near, sort of northwest Turkey, but which is much older. It goes back to like 16,000 years ago. So I find that really compelling, that there could be a connection with these stalagmites and stalactites. A theory that me and JJ put forward some time ago, that the pillar shrine could be like a sort of kind of recreation of the cave environment. So is that what's being represented in the pillar shrine and the mini pillar shrine? We don't know, we're speculating, but the fact is, it's a fertility. It feels like it's a fertility. It's a phallic kind of imagery that we're seeing here again. And we heard this rumor about this phallus room, another one that had been discovered. So we think it must be that. But also, we think that this is going to be massive. This is going to be, with what's also been found at Saybirch now, the extension of the enclosures there going towards the south, they're massive as well. So really, it's really confirming this idea that I believe this is like the world's first super civilization. Thanks for watching, Megalithomaniacs. Hope you enjoyed this video update from Karahan Tepe, and we'll see you next time.